It's pretty straightforward. Now, going into a little bit more detail about the concept of Agile, a lot of this is based on what we call the Agile Manifesto. So if you have not read the Agile Manifesto, I want to encourage you to go on down to agilemanifesto.org. Agile is a mindset. As this quote says, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, but the one most adaptable. And that's why we call Agile adaptable, because it's all about being adaptable to change. Being adaptable to change means you're going to have a mindset of individuals and interactions over processes and tools. You're going to focus on getting a product that works, and you're going to value that, even though you might have documentation, but you're going to value getting a working product in over comprehensive documentation. You're going to value collaborating with your customer rather than negotiating for the next buck, and you're going to respond to change. You're going to value responding to change over following a plan, because being able to respond to change is critical. Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the mouth. Isn't that true? We all have plans until a change comes, and then we got to respond. But we should have had that mindset first of responding to change. The next piece of the Agile Manifesto at agilemanifesto.org focuses on principles. So we have 12 principles, and I'm not going to go over every single principle today, but I want to encourage you to, in your spare time, go over the principles. Principle number 1 is the very important one I want to focus on here. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable product. Keep your eye on that one. That is very important. We've got 11 other great ones. The final one I want to focus on is number 12. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. So have some intermissions where you think about how to become more effective. It will help you as you proceed in your projects. Okay, in closing, in the world of Agile, we start off with a vision. We have an Agile project charter that puts that vision down on paper. We craft a roadmap to show the way. We craft how we're going to release incrementally whatever we're doing. We put together a team charter where the team has ground rules set. There's backlog preparation so that we can have all those requirements or requests. We choose to call them requests, customer-centered requests, because requirements could be different. And that's not to say there couldn't be some, but it needs to be very clear what is absolutely required versus what is a nice to have. Next thing we talk about here is sprint planning, and that means planning the iteration. We have a daily stand-up meeting. We also call it a daily scrum. We have backlog refinement where we tweak the backlog. We actually ensure that what is in the backlog for our next sprint or iteration meets the definition of ready. We want to get those user-centered requests, which we call stories in some instances. We want to get those user stories ready so that we can work on them in the next sprint without delay. Then number 10 says potentially shippable increment is produced, and that is going to be reviewed by the customer. And once that is done, we can have a retrospective where we review what went well, what didn't go so well, take a look at our process and how to improve it. Now, if all value is delivered, then we're good. If it's not, then we got to go back to number 7 and do iteration planning again. But if all value is delivered, then we have our final release or closeout, the final deliverable or the final increment is handed over to the customer. And that's how you need to be thinking in project management. Following these steps, it may not be as straightforward as it looks, but overarching ideas say satisfy the customer, think about vision, think about where you're going, have a plan, have a roadmap, and you will get to the end. I hope you found this to be helpful. If you got any comments or questions, put them down below in the box. And if you need help as you're learning project management, maybe you need training, coaching, mentoring, maybe you need to send your team to us for help, just send an email. You can see right there, it's info@praizion.com, and the website is praizion.com. Thank you very much. I hope you found this useful. All the best in your project management.